All right, it is 7 o'clock, and pursuant to the governor's executive order, the city council meeting will be held by video telephone conference via Zoom. Would you all please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone, and we'll do a roll call of those city council members that are present. Bilsbach?
Yes.
Catlin?
Yes.
Claybaugh? Claybaugh? Cook?
Yes.
Fairbanks?
Yes.
Kerr?
Yes.
McLean?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
And I'll go back one more time to Claybaugh.
Yes.
Thank you. Let the record show that all members of the city council are present this evening. An electronic copy of the Open Meetings Act is available at nebraska-legislature.gov/laws/statutes, statute number 84-1411. First item on the agenda is a proclamation proclaiming April 24th, 2020 as Arbor Day in our community. Proclamation reads as follows. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas this holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world. And whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now, therefore, I, Stan Worth, Mayor of the City of Beatrice, do hereby proclaim April 24th, 2020 as Arbor Day in the City of Beatrice, and I urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. And furthermore, I urge all citizens to plant trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations. Witness my hand and official seal of the City of Beatrice, Nebraska, this 20th day of April, 2020. All right, next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. All items under the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the City Council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or citizen so requests. First item is approve agenda as submitted. Item B, receive and place on file all notices pertaining to this meeting. Item C, receive and place on file all materials having any bearing on this meeting. Item D, approval of minutes of regular meeting on April 6, 2020 as on file in the city clerk's office. Item E, approval of treasurer's report of claims in the amount of $337,854.12. Item F, approval of BOSWAR report of claims in the amount of $59,811.11. Item G, approval of write-off of ambulance bad debts. Item H, approval of special designated license for Main Street Beatrice for their Taste of Spring fundraiser event to be held July 10th, 2020 from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. at the Beatrice Mercantile Building, 301 Court Street, Beatrice, Nebraska. And item J, I beg your pardon, item I, resolution number 6553, entering into a lease between the city and Chester McGrury IV for a garden. Is there any item that any council member wants removed from the consent agenda? Hearing none, is there anyone from the public? Mr. Claybaugh?
I move that the items listed under the consent agenda be approved, accepted, and are ratified as presented.
Second.
Moved by Claybaugh, seconded by Morgan, that all items listed under the consent agenda be approved, accepted, and are ratified. Your vote, Billsbach,
Yes.
Catlin,
Yes.
Claybaugh,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes.
Fairbanks.
Yes.
I didn't hear you.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Kerr,
Yes.
McLean,
Yes.
and Morgan.
Yes.
Passes 8-0. Next item is a public hearing to receive the semi-annual report of the Citizens Advisory Review Committee as provided by the Local Option Municipal Economic Development Act, 1943. And we have with us Grant Jones, who chairs that committee. Grant, you want to give your report?
Good evening. Thank you for the audience tonight to present the semi-annual report. It'll be pretty quick. As you have the financials there in front of you under the CDBG reuse phones, we have a little over $313,000 in publicly available money. But also, as you know, that's now has to be used for public infrastructure use and cannot be used as we have in the past. I know there's been some talk about sidewalks, and Nicole Jones won't be upset if you decide to do that on Lincoln Street, north and south between 27th and 25th.
Could you be more specific, Grant?
I just thought I'd give you a starter. Your LBA 40 funds are about $646,000 in available money, and that's now coming from the electric department versus the sales tax that we have in the past. The only applicant we've had since the last report I had to give was Warner Investments down at Valentino's to remodel the interior of the Primavera room. And so as a result, your financials from this time to last time don't have a whole lot. As we reported here a week ago, most of the applicants, in fact, all of them are current as best as they can be with no real issues or concerns left on the books.
Any questions of Grant? Hearing none, Mr. Claybaugh, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I move that the public hearing be closed at 7:07 p.m.
Second.
Moved by Claybaugh, seconded by Billsbach, that the public hearing be closed at 7:07 p.m. Vote please. Billsbach,
Yes.
Catlin,
Yes.
Claybaugh,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes.
Fairbanks,
Yes.
Kerr,
Yes.
McLean,
Yes.
and Morgan.
Yes.
That passes 8-0. Thank you, Grant.
Thank you.
Thanks, Grant.
Item B. Item B is a public hearing for the purpose of considering adoption of plan modification II to the redevelopment plan for redevelopment area number 2, which is the Hevelone building located at 112 and 114 North 6th Street redevelopment project. Tobias?
Yes, this is for the, as it indicates, the Hevelone building, which is 112 and 114 North 6th Street. This would be just south of the Security First Bank there on the Highway 77. John Carlson, Rob Schaefer's our law firm that's been there for a number of years. It's their TIF project. You saw this TIF project come to you a couple of years ago, and just due to various reasons, that project didn't move forward at that time. Mr. Schaefer's come back in and reapplied, asked for the project to be reconsidered. It has gone through the CRA twice. It has gone to Planning and Zoning, who looked at it. They recommended approval of it. So now it comes before you tonight. When you look at the particular project, really nothing unusual about this particular project. There's some facade improvements on it. There'll be some different infrastructure that needs to be done. Sidewalks, if anybody's driven by lately, see that the sidewalk currently has some barricades on it. There's some of that stuff that the funds will be used for this particular project. Probably one of the things we're working through at this point on this project is the minimum valuation when the project is complete. So in your redevelopment agreement that gets approved by the CRA at the next meeting, we have to put into that agreement what is the minimum valuation. That valuation is a number that the redeveloper cannot protest the tax below that set value. That value is also what is used for their TIF loan when they go to the bank and get a TIF loan. So if we say it's $500,000, it's what we're projecting the TIF proceeds based upon. That's what the TIF loan is based upon with the bank, and they make their payments. If that number is short of the minimum valuation, then the redeveloper has to pull money out of their own pocket to make sure they make this payments to the bank that they have set up. If it's over the minimum valuation, obviously that just helps the TIF project pay off quicker than we initially anticipated. In this particular project, we've been given kind of a wide range of that minimum valuation from the county assessor's office. And so we are working with the redeveloper as to what minimum valuation they feel most comfortable with. The range we have so far is between $500,000 and $1 million. And so we are working to try to fine tune that a little bit more before we sign that redevelopment agreement. But outside of that, this project is very unique. I mean, it's not very unique. It's very similar to any other project we've done. I think probably the biggest benefit of this project is just how it will revitalize that particular corner, and again, carry through that theme of redoing the downtown that you saw gain interest here over the last couple of years. I would also note that we have sent notices out to all of the tax entities here, Gage County, the Southeast Community College, NRD. I think there's a number of them we sent notices to. I have not heard from any of them for or against this project. I don't know if any of them are here tonight, but we have given those notices out as well.
Questions?
Dan, this is Ted. I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I'm struggling a little bit with the value of the building. What's it currently on the tax rolls valued at?
I think about
Give me.
about 92,000, isn't it, Tobias?
No, it's on the tax rolls.
I have it right here.
It's on the tax rolls at 92,000, and we're going to value it at $1 million.
$98,000 is what at today. The valuation is also set by the county assessor's office. So it's whatever number they can come up with and that they justify. We don't set that valuation.
Well, it just seems to me that we're inflating the valuation of the building to make the TIF project fit better. And I've got a problem with that. Is that
We are not.
Is that essentially what we're doing here?
No. If we set the valuation at $500,000, okay, and so he sets up his TIF loan based upon that number. If he's short, he has to pull into his own pocket to pay the additional funds. So if we set it at $500,000 and it comes in at $400,000, the city's not out anything. We don't lose anything. All we guarantee is that whatever funds we receive, the TIF funds will pass on to the redeveloper and their bank. It's up to them as to how they make those valuations and how they set up that loan proceeds.
Okay. I understand what you're saying. I still have a problem with it. So,
Here, Ted, this is Michael with Main Street Beatrice. Just also give you a point of clarity. They are going to be heavily increasing the amount of usable square footage. Right now, that assessed valuation essentially assumes that the second floor is, almost nothing, and that the basement is very minimal. The first floor is at a pretty low quality level. Their work will be heavily increasing the amount of square footage that's at a much higher quality level. So that's part of that equation, is they're doing a top to bottom renovation.
all right. Okay. So you're telling me at the end of this project, that building is going to be worth $1 million. Is that what you're saying, Michael?
I
I mean,
don't think
obviously
anybody,
that's
I
what
don't
the
think
county
anybody's
assessor is saying.
I don't think that anybody's saying the building's going to be worth $1 million. That's going to be up to the county assessor.
Okay.
And like Tobias said, we really aren't out of anything. That number I'm not sure. I've not seen the drawings. I've not seen estimates or anything else, but they're indicating that they are going to pump quite a bit of money into this building. It's, again, up to the county assessor to determine what that value is, not us.
All right.
But in order for TIF to work, it has to come out as a $500,000, right?
TIF can work at any number, honestly. Whatever the minimum valuation is, what it has to come out at. So generally, we like to have that number be conservative. Based upon, we have conversations with the county assessor before we move forward with these TIF projects. We got a good idea where those numbers will be. And that's a conversation I'm currently having with the redeveloper, is what number do they feel comfortable putting in that redevelopment agreement before we take it to CRA.
Toby, Rich, could it be 400,000 or 350?
It could be. So far what we're hearing from the county assessor's office is we could have a minimum valuation higher than that and still be conservative.
So we're kind of on hold on really what the building is until the county assessor goes in there and looks at it.
Well, we have to have a number before they can go in and look at it, because obviously we have to have the TIF documents in place before they start the remodel. And so there's a little bit of, kind of a, I don't want to say guessing game, but you try to make your best guess that you can as you look at a particular project, working with the county assessor as they value the projects.
And as they tear that down, there could be some hidden problems that they're maybe padding a little bit in case of hidden problems too, right?
Well, again, the TIF, the valuation just sets the amount of TIF proceeds that could be available to them.
Mm-hmm.
If there are hidden projects or hidden problems in the building, those would not increase the amount of TIF proceeds that they could receive. Whatever that minimum valuation is basically caps the amount of TIF proceeds that will be eligible or available to the redeveloper.
And a quick point of clarification. This is Michael with Main Street again. They are not tearing down the building. They're just doing a top to bottom rehabilitation.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I have another question, Michael. So, Michael, how many buildings downtown, roughly, I know it's just a quick thing, but how many buildings downtown with this same square footage sell for $500,000?
You now have a couple more that are in that range that have joined that range. They didn't sell that, but they've been rehabilitated into that valuation range. Think of the 301 Court Street, 623 Court Street, that are of a relatively similar size and have definitely seen valuation increases that are substantial.
You didn't answer my question, but thank you, Michael.
Any other questions? Yeah. Any other questions? Anyone from the public? All right, hearing none. Mr. Claybaugh?
I move that the public hearing be closed at 7:19 p.m.
Second.
Moved by Claybaugh, seconded by Cook, that the public hearing be closed at 7:19 p.m. Your vote, Billsbach,
Yes.
Catlin,
Yes.
Claybaugh,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes.
Fairbanks,
No.
Kerr,
Yes.
McLean,
Yes.
and Morgan.
Yes.
That passes 7 in favor and 1 opposed, being Councilman Fairbanks. Next is resolution number 6554, adopting plan modification II to the redevelopment plan for redevelopment area number 2.
I move that resolution number 6554 be passed and adopted.
Second.
Moved by Claybaugh, seconded by Billsbach, that resolution number 6554 be passed and adopted. Tobias, anything further?
Just what I would note on the resolution before you does not set the minimum valuation. That is set in the redevelopment agreement, which is approved by the CRA at their next meeting. The resolution before you tonight just basically says that the redevelopment plan is feasible, that it meets the comprehensive plan, that's in conformity with the TIF laws, that the redevelopment project wouldn't occur but for TIF occurring, and it, basically it meets all the other requirements of the act, that act being the TIF Act or Community Redevelopment Act. That is what the resolution that you're voting on tonight says.
And just a point of clarification, I may have missed it, but Planning and Zoning Commission has approved this also.
Correct.
Okay. Any further discussion from the council or from the public? Hearing none. Roll call vote. Billsbach,
Yes.
Catlin,
Yes.
Claybaugh,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes.
Fairbanks,
No.
Kerr,
Yes.
McLean,
Yes.
and Morgan.
Yes.
And that passes 7 in favor, 1 against, being Councilman Claybaugh. Resolution number 60, I beg your pardon, Fairbanks. Resolution number 6554 has been passed and adopted. Next is item B, resolution number 6555, adopting the redevelopment plan for redevelopment area number 9.
I move that resolution number 6555 be passed and adopted.
Second.
Moved by Claybaugh, seconded by Morgan, that resolution number 6555 be passed and adopted. Tobias?
You're not having deja vu. Last week, or last council meeting, we did have a public hearing on declaring area number 9 as blight and substandard. We turned around and had another public hearing declaring the redevelopment plan for area number 9 and reviewing that one. Just so everybody remembers, area number 9 is essentially the Highway 136 corridor from Sunmart back to the high school and about 1 block on the north and south side of the highway. Last council meeting, we passed a resolution approving the blight and substandard study for the area and declaring it as blight and substandard. What I forgot to put on the agenda was a resolution adopting the general redevelopment plan that we reviewed last time. So before you tonight is a resolution to adopt the general redevelopment plan that we reviewed 2 weeks ago during the public hearing. Again, this is the plan that we hired Hannah Keelan to come down. They looked at each of the individual parcels and determined that it does in fact comply with the federal or state law.
Any questions? It was just an oversight and one that is being corrected now. Any questions from the public? All right, we'll go with a roll call vote. Billsbach,
Yes.
Catlin,
Yes.
Claybaugh,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes.
Fairbanks,
Yes.
Kerr,
Yes.
McLean,
Yes.
and Morgan.
Yes.
And that passes 8-0. Resolution number 6555 has been passed and adopted. Next is item C, resolution number 6556, executing any and all documents necessary to contract with and retain office interiors and design to serve as furniture designer and specifier for the construction of the new fire station.
I move that resolution number 6556 be passed and adopted.
Second.
Moved by Claybaugh, seconded by Cook, that resolution number 6556 be passed and adopted. Tobias?
So with the construction of the new fire station comes with a number of other things we need to do. One of them is looking at furnitures and some of those types of things for the interior of the building. And I know that Chief Dakey is on the call, so if he met with this group, him and Amanda and Emily have worked with them, and I'll turn it over to the chief and see if he has anything to say about this particular contract.
Sure. We went up and met with Nancy back in January of this year. Seemed like 3 years ago at this rate. They've also done work with Lincoln Fire, and so they understand fire stations. We went on a tour at Station 15 to kind of show what they've done there. So that's why we recommend going with this group.
Questions of Chief Dakey?
Is this a fee for service, Chief? $95? Is that $95 for not to exceed 19 hours? Is that what it is?
Yeah, basically,
Correct.
yes.
$95. Yes. So $1,805.
I think if you look over the number of years and the ergonomics that have changed, I think this is probably a very good investment. I will tell you that we've used them extensively for a number of projects, and they've been a good company.
Okay. Any other questions from the public? All right, roll call vote. Billsbach.
Yes.
Catlin.
Yes.
Claybaugh.
Yes.
Cook.
Yes.
Fairbanks.
Yes.
Kerr.
Yes.
McLean.
Yes.
And Morgan.
Yes.
Thank you, gentlemen. Resolution number 6556 has been passed and adopted. Next is an ordinance creating paving district number 496 in the city of Beatrice, providing for grading, curbing, and paving, including all necessary storm sewers and or drainage structures of a portion of Prairie Avenue.
I move that said ordinance be given number 20-012. The title thereof be approved, the rules be suspended, and said ordinance be read by number only 3 times tonight.
Second.
Moved by Claybaugh, seconded by Morgan, that the ordinance be given number 20-012, the title thereof approved, the rules suspended, and the ordinance be read by number only 3 times tonight. A motion to suspend the rules is not debatable. Your vote, please. Billsbach.
Yes.
Catlin.
Yes.
Claybaugh.
Yes.
Cook.
Yep.
Fairbanks.
Yes.
Kerr.
Yes.
McLean.
Yes.
And Morgan.
Yes.
And that passes 8-0. Resolution number 20-012 by number the first time. Ordinance number 20-012 by number the second time. And ordinance number 20-012 by number the third and final time.
I move that ordinance number 20-012 be passed and approved.
Second.
Moved by Claybaugh, seconded by McLean, that ordinance number 20-012 be passed and approved. Discussion?
So
Toby,
there are a number. Yeah, go ahead, Gritch.
This is Rich. We visited this here a while back, you and I did. And there was one lady on the corner that apparently if we put the curbs and guttering in, it was going to tear out a bunch of trees. Is she no longer opposed to this?
I believe that she is one of them that has signed. I believe she is one that has signed the petition. And that's something that is really what James needs to look at now. Unfortunately, I know your map is turned sideways. I can't figure out how to rotate my screen on here. But as you see Prairie Avenue there, you can see where the concrete ends on the north side, which is to your left. The asphalt ends on the right side, which is to the south. And you have one block left there, which is gravel street.
Right.
The question that James needs to work through at this point is, do we extend the ditches and the asphalt from the south north, or do we extend the curb and gutter and paving concrete from the north side to the south? And honestly, we should get in there and start designing it and see what fits into that particular area.
Okay, I remember we had some problems with it, but do you have over your 50% then, with these three
Yes.
gentlemen? Okay. No
Yes,
problem then.
I believe it's 53% at this point. For those of you following along, on a paving district, people can petition the city. If there's more than 51%, the city then can create the paving district. Tonight, what will happen, assuming this passes, is we will then give notice to the property owners. They have 20 days then to come in and file an objection. If less than 51% object to the paving district, we will move forward with forming it, doing the work, and then assessing the cost back to the property owners. If more than 51% object to this project, then the council has a decision to make, and that is whether to abandon the paving district or to proceed with forcing it in anyhow and assessing the cost back to the property owners.
And that forcing in would be a gap and extend, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Further discussion from the public? All right, hearing none. Roll call vote. Billsbach.
Yes.
Catlin.
Yes.
Claybaugh.
Yes.
Cook.
Yes.
Fairbanks.
Yes.
Kerr.
Yes.
McLean.
Yes.
And Morgan.
Yes.
Ordinance number 20-012 has been passed and adopted. Next is the public forum. Purpose of the public forum is for the presentation of an item by the general public to the city council for consideration at a later date. No discussion or action will be taken by the city council at this time. Any council member have anything for the public forum?
Stan Rich, I've got a lot of compliments, and you need to tell Peathard and the boys down there on 2nd Street on the west side, I've had a lot of people compliment on that. And it really does look nice with the planting of all those trees.
I would agree, Rich. Thanks for bringing that up.
Okay, wait till the grass comes in.
Is there anyone from the public that has anything for the public forum? All right, we'll move on to discussions and reports. And I think you've all heard about the metal building that is planned for near our city, I call it the city shops. Tobias? I'm sorry.
So this is
Mr. Claybaugh, I'm sorry.
I move that the bid for the metal storage building be awarded to Casper's Construction in an amount of $266,353, which includes the alternate bid to build an additional bay as recommended by the Board of Public Works.
Second.
Moved by Claybaugh, seconded by Morgan, that the bid for the metal storage building to be awarded to Casper's Construction in the amount of $266,353. That also includes the alternate bid to build an additional bay recommended by the Board of Public Works. Any discussion?
So this project has been on the utilities guys' capital projects here for the last couple of years. We budgeted for it. We just have never gotten to where we move forward. Part of it was because we were looking for a place to build this building. Ultimately, they have settled on building it at the service center up north. It would be on the far north end of the property line is where they're looking to build it. The base bid was for 5 bays. The alternate bid was to build a 6th bay onto there. The street department, the electric department, and the water department will share those 6 bays. So, each one comes up with about 2 of them. They initially budgeted $225,000 for this. We did ask each one of the department heads to go back and look at their budget to see where they could cut $14,000 of other projects. All 3 of them were able to identify projects that they would not need the money and could hold off and use their $14,000 for this particular project. We went out for bids. We got in, I believe, 4 bids on this project. And the low bid then was from Cash First Construction, and that's who we'd recommend proceeding with.
Questions? Anyone from the public? All right, gentlemen, your vote, please. Billsbach.
Yes.
Catlin.
Yes.
Claybaugh.
Yes.
Cook.
Yes.
Fairbanks.
Yes.
Kerr.
Yes.
McLean.
Yes.
And Morgan.
Yes.
Thank you, gentlemen. Next is the sanitary sewer quote for Sertoma Astro Park bathroom.
I move that the bid for the Sertoma Astro Park bathroom be awarded to Lamo Plumbing, Inc. in the amount of $10,625 as recommended by the Board of Public Works.
Second.
Moved by Claybaugh, seconded by Cook, that the bid for the Sertoma Astro Park bathroom be awarded to Lamo Plumbing in the amount of $10,625 as recommended by the Board of Public Works. Discussion.
We are working to rectify one of the biggest errors that we made according to Facebook, and that was putting in a splash pad and not putting in a bathroom. So we budgeted to install a bathroom up there at Sertoma Astro Park. We have that project coming forward. One of the things we need to do is obviously install a sewer line. James put together some specs, went out for quotes, and we received one quote back, and that being from Lamo Plumbing. James has reviewed it, believes that it is a good price, so we would recommend approving the bid in from Lamo Plumbing. If you've been up there, you've noticed we've already started some of the dirt work for the foundation and to keep this project moving forward.
Any questions? Anything from the public? All right, gentlemen, your vote, please. Billsbach.
Yes.
Catlin.
Yes.
Claybaugh.
Yes.
Cook.
Yes.
Fairbanks.
Yes, Stan, but I do want to know when it's going to be completed. I didn't ask that earlier. But yes.
We'll get to that in just a minute. Mr. Kerr.
Yes.
McLean.
Yes.
And Morgan.
Yes.
And that passes 8-0. Tobias, is there a timeline?
There is. I'm trying to think of when delivery is, but we're trying to get the utility guys in the next week or two to get their work done. I think they were looking at a before the end of May completion date, but I will verify that for sure.
So the building has to be brought in first. So that was ordered some time ago, and we're just waiting for delivery of that.
Great.
Does that answer your question, Ted?
Yeah. I've had a couple of people ask, and I just want to be able to give them some kind of an educated answer other than the city office. So.
Okay. Next is the Engage quarterly report, and is Trevor Lee available?
Yes, he is.
Very good. Trevor, the show is yours.
All right. So touch on a few of the objective areas that I'm just using the format or continuing the format that Walker and Aaron had implemented. So on the business retention expansion, the big thing kicking that off was COVID-19 and the response that Engage, as well as its partners at the Chamber and Main Street Beatrice, that kind of coordinated response effort. So the first thing was a business impact survey we rolled out in mid-March, had over 60, nearly 70 respondents to that to kind of see at that time where they were being most impacted. And then last week we kicked out a COVID survey 2.0. So really interested to see kind of where things stand now, where compared to where they were almost a month ago. I know that I haven't checked the numbers, but as of Friday, we already had 50 responses to that one. So response rate has been excellent. And all that is in addition, of course, to direct connections with businesses and providing information and resource sharing when contacted by those businesses. Second objective, business attraction. We are exploring what's out there for not land acquisition, but purchase options, rights of first refusal, those things for some strategic sites with infrastructure such as rail. And probably the last objective in that template, marketing and communication to stakeholders. So right when I got in, Aaron kicked out a newsletter to stakeholders during the pandemic. So had the announcement of my hiring, the business impact survey promotion, and a bunch of content related to COVID-19. With that, we did do a COVID-19 resources page that's dedicated on our website. And then sort of paired that with consistent social media postings directed towards COVID-19 resources and kind of in line with the regular marketing efforts of Engage and Engage County. Last week we kicked off, or 2 weeks ago now, kicked off Gage County Water Cooler Talk, again, collaboration with the Chamber and Main Street Beatrice. It's a Facebook Live event. Had some wonderful engagement there, but it's really for us, we're buried in COVID-19, as you can tell by my report. So with that, we got to dive into the weeds a lot with a lot of these resources. So we've used that as a sort of a vessel or a conduit of resource sharing with businesses and residents. And last, as you know, I think, Beatrice has had a lot of accolades in the last month with a certification, which you guys were presented with at the last meeting. And then this last week being announced as Nebraska Showcase Community of the Year as part of Community Development Week. So kudos to you and all the fine investments, both public and private, that have led to that recognition. That's all I have. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them.
Stan, this is Rich.
Yes.
The governor's news conference last Friday, he said that he would be putting all this on hold until May 1st, and he would review the reopening of businesses and such. Will Engage be working hand in hand with him? We've got, we got some bars and restaurants and theaters and things. Will you guys be working with the governor's office to make sure that our downtown can maybe get reopened if he starts relaxing the openings of business?
Yeah, I think we've got all the pieces in place to make sure we spread that message, and would make sure that those businesses are the first to know.
Thank you.
Hey, Trevor. Yeah, Trevor, Bob Morgan.
Hey, Bob.
Welcome. What a way to welcome with COVID-19, but thank you for being here, and thank you for taking some great steps to make this a great community. So just wanted to say welcome and thank you.
Thanks, Bob. I'm happy to be here.
Any other questions of Trevor? Anyone from the public? All right, Trevor, thanks for being on and participating today.
Thank you.
Thanks, Trevor.
Next is item D, the city administrator's monthly report. Tobias?
Thank you. I'll pull it up for everybody here. Obviously not the whole thing because it's a little lengthy, but first I would encourage anybody to go to the website. We post these on there so anybody can see them. If they don't catch something here or have questions out in the public. Ted, to answer your question, both Peathott and Burroughs tell me that the bathroom will be done by the end of May.
Thank you.
So there you go. Fire station, we have a pre-construction meeting set for this week. I believe it's Wednesday, and we also have a meeting with the contractors on the IT portion of the building to work through some things with them. So that project continues to move forward. We are working on a website redesign. Amanda and Aaron are spending a lot of time right now going through our website, finding information that needs to be removed or updated. They're doing a great job on it. Really what's kind of holding us right now is Clean City Week. The program we use for people to sign up is built in-house, and they like to have that all run under the current website before we migrate someplace else, just to make sure that it works. So once Clean City Week is done, hopefully we'll be able to migrate to our new website. If you saw in the packets, due to COVID-19, some of the guys can't get out. One of the projects we had budgeted for was to install LED fixtures throughout various buildings. And so Mark and his guys have been busy. They've done everything here in City Hall. They've done everything in the Carnegie building. They're now currently working in the library, installing those LED fixtures. Nobody's in the building, so it's a great time to go through and kind of get some of those things done. And then Fifth Street, if anybody has driven down Fifth Street, as you guys know, we have a mill and overlay project that's going to go from Market all the way down Fifth Street back to Perkins or the Highway 77 area. Right now, you'll see some equipment there. That's Black Hills Energy. They have to remove their gas main as part of the fire station project and part of the Fifth Street project. So they're in there now. When they're done, the water department will come in. They've got a water main that needs to be upsized and moved. They'll do their work. Then you'll see the concrete portion of the mill overlay project come in. At some point, our guess is June. By the time those guys get here, they'll do their work, they'll leave, and then you'll see the actual mill and overlay project come in sometime in July is what we're estimating at this point to do their work. So we're all done. That corridor will look very nice. The trail will, the sidewalk we're including will go all the way and include into the trail, so you'll have a nice, be able to get from the downtown onto the trail heading south as well. And then the last thing I had, or I wanted to point out was say thank you and happy retirement to Rich Bemeisel. Rich had been an employee for the city for almost 25 years. He retired April 3rd, but due to COVID-19, we're not able to give him the standard send-off and thank you party that we give our employees. And so I just want to take an opportunity to thank Rich for his service. Other than that, happy to answer any questions anybody has.
Hi, it's Bob Morgan. I've had one question. A lot of people have asked how the electrical will be rerouted at the fire station.
So the electrical lines?
Yes.
So the line that you see that ran down the old alleyway will be removed. That'll go away. The line that is on the east side of the building, that would be on 7th Street between Scott and Bell, will remain aerial. So it will remain up in the air. There is one power pole on that line that has to be moved because it currently sits in the middle of what will be a driveway. But that line will remain. It is one of our main distribution feeder lines around the community. And when I asked Pat to move it, he told me to look up again and said it would be quite a bit of work at this point. So that line will remain.
Thank you.
I asked that too, Bob.
Any other questions?
Toby, this was Rich. On your update that you sent us on April 10th, there was some problems with the Marshall property west of the brick building, and 2 were north of the Brink building. Cleanup calls for marshals to dig down 50. Is that where the old? Where is that? I guess I'm hitting a. My mind's not figuring out where that's at.
So that would be the old Marshall gas station, which is directly south of Scott Street from where the fire station will be located.
There isn't any. There was 8 storage tanks there. Are those all out? Those were supposed to have been taken out years ago.
From the way it appears on the NDEE website, yes, all those tanks had been removed. There was a leak. Leak was clear back sometime in the 90s. They had been monitoring it for quite some time. As we've seen with our own gas plant site, monitoring seems to go on forever. They finally got to a point where they're ready to do some cleanup, and that's the group that you see in there now, removing some dirt, taking it out to the landfill, and then backfilling with sand and dirt as well.
Now that's Marshall's expense, not ours?
Correct. We have nothing to do with that project. The only involvement we have in it is the fact they're taking the contaminated dirt to our landfill.
And they will pay for that, right?
Correct.
Okay, that's all I needed to know. Thank you.
Any other questions of Tobias? If not, Next regular city council meeting will be on May 4th, 2020. And we will hopefully be at the regular city council chambers, but I wouldn't hold my breath. We'll probably do it virtual again. And there is a possibility of a work session on April 27th. We'll keep you in touch as to the schedule, but that would start at 7 o'clock and it also would be virtual. With that, Mr. Claybaugh, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that the meeting be adjourned at 7:50 p.m.
Second. Billsbach.
Been moved by Claybaugh, seconded by Billsbach, that the meeting be adjourned at 7:50 p.m. Your vote, Mr. Billsbach,
Yes.
Gatlin,
Yes.
Claybaugh,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes.
Fairbanks,
Yes.
Kerr,
Yes.
McLean,
Yes.
and Morgan.
Yes.
All right, gentlemen, thank you and good night.
Thank you.
Safe.
Night.